investigator, and welcome to Orwell. So hi guys, this is Orwell. This is a new game that came out, I think a few weeks ago, that piqued my interest when I saw it. It is a game that if you are afraid of some government people spying on you and reading all the information about you, this is your nightmare. You are an employee of the government facility monitoring its citizens. And you, once you obtain the access to the person's information, you are able to stalk their, quote, Facebook page, here called Timeline. You can read all of their blogs. You are able to create their profile in the system. All information you manage to find, including the date of birth, the photo, the interests, the occupation, the relationship status, everything you find, you are able to input into the system. But don't think that you can add all information you find. There are certain things that the quote system you are operating is selecting, and you can choose some of those information the system selected. But this creates a certain issue with this system. But I think it was supposed to be like that. It was supposed to be, it is not flawless. The game tells one story. This is a story about a very delicate political situation within the nation. Although it's one story and it progresses pretty much the same every time you replay it, because some events happen, some people die, and some of those things you do not have power to change. But there are some things. Maybe you can stop a bombing, maybe you can stop somebody from dying or killing themselves or being killed. Maybe you can help somebody, who knows? This game certainly has a replay value, because every time you finish it, you think to yourself, maybe there was something I could have done differently. Maybe this person didn't have to end up the way they did. Maybe we could have done something. Also, because finding information moves the plot forward, sometimes it depends on what kind of information you find. So, depending on the choices you make during the game, you are able to obtain different information regarding different people. So, to be honest, to have a clear view of the whole game, you have to finish it at least a few times. There are also little bits that can make a huge impact. Let's say being able to buy a bottle of wine or not. Some things like that, you may think, no, this is not necessary. I don't have to report this. But then it can turn out that maybe it would be better if you did. So you can play again and check it out. The thing is, in this system, you are the investigator. You have the access to all the information that are available on the internet. Meanwhile, you are working with another person who doesn't know who you are. They can only write messages to you. You cannot contact them. They only receive those information you report into the system. And usually, it's not word to word what it was when you found it. The system makes conclusions based on what you found. So don't be surprised if the person you are working with may take something and understand something differently than you did. They have different information. Most of the time, they do not have the context. Like I said, by the end of the game, not everything is resolved. You don't know everything that happened. You don't know the perspective of every character. So it is good to replay the game to check it out, or just watch another gameplay so you know what happens. Because I was so curious. I had to finish it 2 times and make different choices, because I hoped I would be able to save one person, but unfortunately I couldn't. The writing in this game is pretty interesting. At times it can be a bit cliche, but it is pretty good, and the characters in this game are pretty, I would say, real. They are not the cutout characters. They have some depth to them. They have dreams. They have some motives. They have past, which is amazing. I know the base of this game is digging out the past of those people, so learning it's great. Also, when it comes to the story, some events and some things, in my opinion, are a bit far-fetched, but I can forgive that. The one thing I didn't really like was that the game is separated into chapters, because for me it was, let's say, breaking the flow of the game. But on the other hand, it created this opportunity to just say to yourself, okay, I'm done for today, I need to take a break, I'm logging out. The one good thing I liked when the game was broken into the chapters, that by the end of every chapter you get the overview of the information you gathered of the events that happened during the game. And this one chapter symbolizes the one day of your work. So because you are just a regular person sitting from 9 to 5 at work and just browsing on the internet, looking up the information on people and their dirty laundry. So yeah, usual day at work. When it comes to the graphics, I really liked it because although on one hand it's not very cartoony, which is good, because if it was too stylized and too cartoony, you wouldn't be able to sympathize with those characters. But on the other hand, if it was too realistic, I would be hugely creeped out and I would start wondering if I'm not following some real people, which I know it's pretty stupid, but you know, that would be just too much. The style is very, very nice and it's very detailed. Although I have to say that when it comes to the graphics, there were a few instances when some of the photographs I was supposed to use were not loading and I had just like blank slate. Like when I was checking somebody's phone, going through their data, and there was supposed to be a photograph of their kid. I know this sounds creepy, but it was necessary. The thing is, if you are a completionist and you have to gather every bit of information, every bit of data you are able, this is not a game for you. Because you won't be reading into the story, you won't be interpreting what is happening and thinking like, if I load this information, this may happen, so it may affect this. And you will just put everything into one bag and not think about people who are able to access the information because you put it into the system. So think twice before you add the first information you encountered. I advise read everything that is available and then add what you think is good or necessary. Sometimes you may think that, no, this information is not important, I shouldn't add it. But then it turns out that it was necessary for you to be able to move the plot forward. So yeah. And like I mentioned before, sometimes you may think that you are not able to add every information you think you need. Like you have this person and you have information on their family and you think that the information on their family would be important to the case. But it's not for you to decide. To be able to gather information on some people, you have to receive some accesses, some approvals for gathering information on that person. If that person is considered valuable to the investigation you are doing right now, then you can add the information. But if they are not, if they are like only a, let's say, background for the whole thing, they are not necessary, didn't take action in any of this, then you cannot gather information on that person. Also, what I didn't like, you are unable, you cannot update information you already uploaded into the system. So if you found information that, let's say, somebody likes chocolate, you upload the information, and later it turns out they only like dark chocolate, not the milk chocolate, for example. And then it turned out that the, murderer only liked milk chocolate and he left traces. And because you added the information that they like chocolate, they are now a suspect. So in your mind, they are off the list of the suspects, but you cannot update the information. The other thing is that once the day have passed, if you did not upload something into the system, it's disabled. You cannot upload it now. You cannot do anything about it. This might be, I don't know. I understand that this is important for the mechanic, meaning that if some information triggers some event, then if you would be able to upload the information whenever, then it would be just a mess. You have to add them in specific order. But it's a bit unrealistic for me. You should be able to add all the information, because in real life it would probably work like that. Overall, this game is mighty interesting, but I would highly recommend it for the people who are interested in the plot and who don't mind reading a lot, because you will have to read a lot. You have to read articles, you have to read the blog entries of certain people, you have to read through all of their timeline, you have to read through all of their communications, emails, messages, maybe some historical data of the university, you have to check the list of attendance in the university. There's a lot of reading, and I do not recommend skipping through the information because you might just overlook some detail. When I was watching a gameplay of a few different people, I noticed that they read something differently than I did, because they had different information, because they didn't skip like I did sometimes. And they were able to save some people and I wasn't. Maybe if I play next time I'll be able. So overall, the game is very interesting. It has a great visual style. It makes you think, because really the amount of information about us we put into the internet is staggering. Sometimes you can follow whole people's lives on the internet. It's really disturbing. It's impossible to hide on the internet. And this game reminds you of that. And that this is something possible, that this may happen, that you might be tracked. It makes you a bit paranoid. But overall, I think this game is great. I really had fun with it. It made me think. It made me replay it so far once, but I think I'll replay it a few more times to just see how things can go differently, if I can find any additional information I missed. Have you guys seen this game? Did you play it? Did you like it? I'm curious. Let me know. But for now, thanks for watching. If you liked it, I would love if you click that like button or that subscribe button. That would be great. And if you shared, guys, please, that would be just terrific. Thanks again. I hope I'll see you next time. And watch out for Big Brother.